Nothing in this relationship feels fair, right? What applies to you doesn't seem to apply to him. And you're expected to tolerate, but he won't tolerate it. What you're allowed to feel gets policed, but his doesn't, right? And you keep trying to make it make sense. You think that it's just inconsistency or hypocrisy, or he doesn't see it. We keep trying to explain what they don't understand. He understands, he sees it. I'm going to show you how double standards actually reveal how he sees you, what his superiority looks like in real life situations, and how to recognize it when it's actually happening. My name is Lisa Sonni. I'm a certified relationship coach, author of 5 books, including the recent Coming Back to You, and I help women exit abusive relationships and rebuild their lives after. So if this is something that you need to hear more of, hit subscribe, because on this channel, I expose the nasty, covert tactics that these abusive men are using to control you and keep you. Now, this is not about fairness, right? We know that. They're all about like, oh, it has to be fair, but it's never fair for you. It always goes in their favor. You're trying to make things equal, but he's not operating from a place of equality. He's operating from position, and I want to be clear right up here. He needs the contrast. Abusive relationships, toxic relationships often too, are about control. They're about superiority. So he needs his perspective to have more weight. His discomfort with anything, especially things like accountability, that actually matters. That carries way more weight. But if you have feelings, those need to be negotiated, discussed, dissected, dismissed completely. And it's no accident, right? This is how this relationship is structured on purpose. You feel the imbalance even if you can't quite name it in the moment, even if it doesn't quite make sense at the time. You know that you're living in a double standard. I see the double standards as evidence of superiority. He assumes that his behavior is justified. One of the biggest ways that we see this show up is he can be provoked. Abusive men are constantly claiming, I was provoked, right? She did something first. I was just reacting to her. You see it in the comment sections all the time. If you see a man do anything on a video to a woman, the whole comment section is going to be filled with men talking about how it's justified, right? She must have done something. They will happily defend a man they never met with evidence in a video of something that he is literally doing, and they decide that it must make sense that he's doing it. Flip that around. When a woman is doing something, it's never the same. It's never, well, what happened? Was she provoked? No, men are the ones that get to be provoked and women are not. You see that in the comment sections, but you see that in your own relationship. He yelled, but he had a reason. When you yell, you're crazy. You're emotional. You ever notice that he expects understanding from you? He's entitled to that understanding, but he offers that very little back. You don't get understanding. You get dismissed. You get called names. You get told you're crazy. But you have to see it as he believes that his reasons matter more than your reasons. Your reasons are irrelevant. You are just having reactions that need to be managed. You're just a crazy woman. You see the misogyny in here, left, right, and center when you're looking for it. He positions himself as the standard, and then you have to adjust yourself. You have to not be emotional, dramatic, crazy, loud, angry, not have reactions. But when he feels justified in his reactions, he gets to have those. That is a very clear power imbalance and a very clear double standard that shows you that he sees himself here and he sees you here. Now, I want to kind of go through some of the overt ways, and then I'm going to wrap up with some of the covert ways that you might see this, because those ones are the trickiest. So let's say he goes out with his friends. That's totally fine. But when you go out with your friends, you get questioned. He can be late. You're expected to be on time, and if you're 2 minutes late, you have to send a message. You have to reach out. He can raise his voice to you, right? I'm not yelling, I'm raising my voice. But if you raise your voice, you're a crazy person. You're too much. He can need space, but when you do it, you're withdrawing. You're cold. What's wrong with you? He can, of course, look through your phone, but when you look through his phone, you're invading his privacy and insecure and jealous and crazy. He can criticize you. He can criticize who you are, what you wear, how you do things, how you talk. But if you have any feedback for him, even constructive feedback, you're being critical. In fact, you're being disrespectful. This whole time, he sets rules that he won't follow himself because he sees himself as above them. So the fact that it's a double standard is irrelevant because he'll happily enforce rules that don't imply to him. These are easy to see and you can kind of feel them relatively clearly when you're in the relationship. It's what you get so crazy about. These are the ones that you're most often arguing about. But there are a lot of covert ones, right? The covert double standards are often where things really get missed. So he has feelings and those are valid. Yours are just too much. Stress can explain his behavior, but you are never allowed to use that excuse. For him, stress is a reason. For you, stress is an excuse. He brings up his past and that gives context, right? His ex cheated or his mom, whatever. But that gives context to why he is the way he is. Your past, never an excuse. If your ex actually did cheat on you, that's absolutely no reason for you to lack trust or be even remotely insecure or need any type of reassurance. But for him, it makes perfect sense. You ever notice how he is expected to have all of this grace, but he is so happy to scrutinize every detail of your past, your life, and what you're doing? This is a man who expects patience, endless patience from you, but he'll never give you patience. This is a man who says that he just wants you to be honest with him, but then as soon as you are, he punishes you for it. And he acts like you're being inconvenient. Your feelings are a burden. He didn't actually want the honesty. He'll tell you that he wants to be close, but he'll avoid accountability. So the standard really just depends on who benefits from it at the time, right? This is so much harder to call out. And I want you to go into the comments right now and actually comment. What are the covert or overt ways that you saw these double standards showing up in your relationship? Now, self-doubt starts building huge right here because it's crazy making. You cannot figure out why something that applies to him doesn't apply to you. And all he'll do is gaslight you and tell you that's not true. There is no double standard, but you see it. I know you see it. So if it's safe to, I always want to be clear with people. We talk about these little tests, right? I want to say, watch what happens when you do the same thing to him, but make sure that you're safe to do that. Make sure you're safe to run that test. And if you're not, think about it. Think about what would happen if you treated him the way he's treating you. What happens? That is right there, the superiority that I'm talking about. Suddenly, the reaction is different, right? All of the tolerance that he expected from you, gone. He has no tolerance, no patience. Suddenly, those rules that he kept breaking, the ones that he set, suddenly those matter. Those matter so much, right? You don't need an explanation. You don't. The contrast that I'm describing here actually tells you everything. Step back and look at the pattern. These guys are so good at getting you to focus on the hyper-specific moments instead of the pattern of what's happening. Look how often he is up here and you're down here. It happens all the time and you're sick of it. Now, the amount of women that say to me, well, he doesn't see this as a problem. He doesn't see it at all. And I'll push back and they'll be like, no, you don't understand. Like, I think he really is stupid. He really doesn't get it. Listen to me, man. He absolutely gets it. He doesn't see it because as long as he doesn't see it, he can keep doing it. And it benefits him. This works for him. This is exactly the kind of thing that keeps an abusive man in control of the entire dynamic. It protects his entire position. It gives him so much freedom and it helps him have no accountability. And at the end of the day, listen to all of the experts say lack of accountability is at the top of the list for an abuser. When he's not accountable, he does not experience the cost of this behavior in the same way that you do, so he doesn't challenge it. In fact, he maintains it. He makes sure that it keeps happening. Even when it's obvious, it doesn't matter because he can just gaslight his way out of it. And what happens to you is that you try to balance things out and let it go and not pick fights, and you explain your side and you try to convince yourself that this is normal, right? You're telling yourself, maybe I don't get it. Maybe, it's me. You doubt yourself. You question your reactions. You go to your friends and you're like, this is what happened. Is this normal? Is that fair? Is that right? You start trying to make it all make sense. You're adjusting your tone. You're trying to avoid conflict, all the while tolerating so much abuse and garbage that you would never normally tolerate. You are just removing your own expectations. And one of the worst outcomes, the worst parts, is that you lose your baseline for what's actually reasonable in a relationship. And to the people who think, these women that stay in these relationships are dumb, the fact remains, women in these relationships are actually really intelligent. They're looking for things that make sense, like logic and consistency. And they think that explaining things would make it make sense, right? If you can just explain it clearly in the right way, in the right words, he'll see it. You assume shared values, especially if he seemed like he had those shared values in the beginning. You assume that fairness matters to him because doesn't fairness matter to most people? Not an abusive man. Who jumps immediately to this hierarchy? That's not what people expect. That's not what anyone thinks. Not to mention, you've got the entire world telling you it's not fair. You got to give him the benefit of the doubt. One of the biggest mistakes women make is just blindly giving a man the benefit of the doubt. I don't make that mistake anymore. You do not give that blindly to anyone. Learn more about earned trust, earned loyalty. Not because he was nice for 6 months in the beginning. I don't care how long you've been with a man like this. This pattern is telling you something. This pattern is screaming. It's why it is making you so crazy. You keep trying to fix this imbalance, but a double standard is very much like a double bind. You can't win. There's no way out of it. Abusive relationships are incredibly confusing. This is not confusing once you're able to step back and really look at the pattern. This isn't poor communication. This is him missing the point on purpose because it benefits him and because it works for him. This is how he wants the dynamic. He sees himself as having more permission. He's allowed and you're not. It has nothing to do with him not seeing that when you raise your voice, it's the same as when he raises his voice. Two raised voices. Why is one worse than the other? No, it's because he gets to. He is justified. He is entitled. He is superior. You're not. He has more room to behave this way. He has the authority. This is the power imbalance. And he absolutely expects you to adjust to that. And you have been adjusting to that. And I invite you to stop adjusting to that. Learn how to leave a relationship like this. Learn how to heal if you're already out of a relationship like this. How you can actually start to really recognize this is stop looking at what he says, okay? Look at what's allowed, what gets challenged, what makes him have a big reaction, what you have to explain, and look at what he doesn't have to explain. Make a list, 2 columns, okay? Look at where the rules apply and where they don't, because this pattern is very consistent. Double standards are not small issues that you need to work through. They tell you exactly how he sees you. He believes he's superior. Subscribe if you're not already, and if you're ready to just stop all of this and break free and learn how to do what's hard and get out of a relationship like this, you can work with me in one-on-one sessions, or you can join the Trauma Bond Recovery group coaching program that I host with Dr. Peter Salerno. Over those 12 weeks, we're going to teach you all of the actionable skills and steps to break free from a relationship like this where you feel crazy, confused, and attached. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.